confirm that they get on before? Hey, Becky, how you doing?
Hi, good to see you.
It's good to see you guys in person.
I know.
I don't have to do the emergency order statement. That's, I think, the best part about this. It's the only reason I did it.
Contemporaneously.
Oh, yeah, it's got to be in there 3 times. Contemporaneously.
I was like, I'll punch
especially
you.
like back in March, I was like,
What does this even
marble
mean?
mouth that thing. All right. So I think we can get started. It's call it to order at 4:34, and there's a roll call. So I guess I'll be doing that. Back to the old ways, right? All right. So roll call vote. Call to order. Aye.
Aye.
All right, great. So we call it to order at 4:34. Next on the agenda is public comments. Actually, I might push this to later just to confirm people get on, since we just opened it up. Is that okay?
She's going to text me when she gets on.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll just push that to, there's nobody here from the town in person, but we'll address that a little later for people.
She said it's not opening.
Okay. So just so you guys know.
I don't, she's texting right now again. She couldn't, but maybe she's.
This is why it's good we went first.
Yes, it is.
She said she's using the link on the SAU 21 website. She tried Chrome, Firefox, and Safari.
Yeah, locked. So next for our agenda is consideration of the minutes from October 1st, 2020. Did you guys have any comments?
Nope.
Becky, you were good?
Yep.
All right. Can I get a motion to approve the October 1st, 2020 minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the October 1st, 2020 minutes as written.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oh yeah,
All
going
right,
back to
nice.
that. Look at that. Great. Like back in February.
Right.
I know you're learning this. All right. All right. Next on the agenda, should we keep going until like? We should be fine, right? Yeah. Next on the agenda is reports, and it's the finance report. Matt, do you want to go over that?
Sure. So the year-to-date expenditure report is included on board docs. There aren't any significant changes from last year, but last month I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I didn't have anything that really jumped out to me. I'm going through it again. Becky or Sharon, how about you guys?
No, I'm good.
Okay, I think we're okay. Anything on the, usually we've been doing a finance report and the facilities together. Anything from a facility perspective?
No, I mean, as you know, we've taken COVID-19 specific precautions this year, so you know we've expended more in cleaning supplies. We've had some some extra costs with air filters, so we're replacing the filters more often and with a higher grade filter. In addition, we're refreshing the air circulation on a more frequent basis to refresh the rooms. We've encouraged our teachers and staff to open windows as well. Of course, that should be will likely be ending as the colder weather comes. But it's a challenge with our staffing. At Southampton, we have limited custodial staff, but they appear to be doing a really good job in trying to keep up with the necessary work. So.
Okay, great. All right, thank you, Matt. Appreciate it. Next on the report is the principal's report.
Yes. So you have my report, but I just wanted to point out a couple of things. We really want to make sure that we're focusing on community building, even though we're virtual and all the students are separate. One of the special things about Barnard is the community that it has. So we're working on different things to try to keep the kids connected, even though they physically can't be together. So starting tomorrow, we're going to have our first all-school meeting virtually. Each grade is going to take turns hosting so that they can celebrate something that they're learning in the classroom. And just so they can get to see the classroom, we realized we have new students who are in the gym, who have never even been in the main building before. So we're going to kind of show them what their school looks like because they haven't ever seen it really. So that will be an ongoing thing that will continue to happen once a month. And we've also organized some virtual book buddies so that the students will be able to be connecting older students with younger students and sort of act as mentors. And our student council has been working on community outreach, and so everybody in the school has written thank you letters to veterans, and they will be sent overseas. They were sent overseas to soldiers, and upcoming students will be decorating turkey hands with messages, positive messages that will be sent to our neighbors' table in Newburyport to go be sent home with families for their meal distribution. As far as curriculum goes, we've been working with John Vanderels again to continue our goals towards competency-based education. He's been working with teachers to develop rubrics and assessments and units through competencies. And as you guys know, we sent out information to all parents regarding the work study habits that will be on the report card starting this trimester. And teachers have been working really hard, or did work really hard to create those rubrics and get them in place. And we have put together a math review committee. Our math program expires at the end of this year. It was a 5-year contract that we had. And so we're looking at different programs that meet the needs, the Barnard needs that align with the Common Core and that support meaningful instruction for our students. We've started with reviewing 5 programs right now. We're just starting the process, and we're going to look at a few others, and we hope to have a recommendation by end of April, May. And as far as technology goes, unfortunately our Chromebooks have not arrived yet. We keep in close contact with the distributor. We aren't getting, they're telling us that it's coming from Lenovo, the factory, that they say they're making them as first come, first serve how they were ordered. Seabrook ordered theirs 2 weeks after we did, and they got a date of December, beginning of December. So we're hoping that means maybe ours will be here in the next couple of weeks. But I feel like I say this to you every month and they haven't come. So we've looked into purchasing refurbished Chromebooks, but we can't even find those right now. So there's not much we can do about it, but just wait, unfortunately. We have upgraded our internet system to fiber internet system, and that was completed just last week. And that's going to provide, and it's a noticeable faster download service. Anybody have any questions?
No, that's great. Sounds like good stuff.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yep. Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd just like to say, every parent and actually mostly every student I've talked to is so, that's been back in school, is just so happy to be back in. And you guys, you and the staff have done just a tremendous job so far. Thank you.
The staff is working really hard, and it's not an easy, it's difficult because it's a totally different way of teaching, but I have to give them a lot of credit because they are working really hard and they're staying positive. And they're really happy to be in school too. So we hope we can continue.
Yep. All right, next, under continuing business, we have policies. It's the second read and approval. We weren't able to do this in the joint board meeting, so we need to approve it here.
Right, so we're in the process now of taking them out to each of our boards individually. I think you are the second board. Thank you, Rhonda. The second board now to consider these, and once we get through all 5 of the boards next week, they will become part of our policy manual. We had a policy meeting last night, so we have another round ready to go.
Sounds good. I didn't have any comments on these. Becky, I know you're on the meeting policy committee.
Nope.
Sharon, how about you? You
Nope,
good?
I'm good, yep.
All right, great. Can we get a motion to approve the second read and adoption of the policies?
I can't read do I have to say what the?
It'll come across in the thing. It's motion to approve the second read and adoption of the 14 policies as presented.
There you go.
And I'll second that.
Okay, great.
Rhonda, I can't seem to open, so I can't open each, I'm in the meeting, but it won't let me open the page. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, the document? I think so. Keeps telling me a private open login up here in Board Docs. Okay. I'm gonna sign out. I did, yeah. I'm able to do that. I just can't.
Okay, thank you. Next, under new business, A is the award of bid, and this has to do with the gym roof. Matt, are you going to talk about this?
Excuse me. So the gym roof project is a project that we've had on our CIP, capital improvement plan, for a number of years. I think we're all aware of the issues that that roof has encountered. We consistently have leaks, and there is a concern about the long-term ramifications or effect with continued water damage. So we did put out an RFP to get some accurate pricing so that we can have some discussions during this budget cycle to potentially bring forth to the community as a separate warrant article. So we do have funds available in the Roof Expendable Trust, which we did set up a number of years ago. So the discussion point will be, first of all, if we want to bring it forth to the community, but then how much we ask for in a warrant article versus the Roof Expendable Trust, and we also have a Building Maintenance Expendable Trust that we could potentially utilize. So this is a data point for us to start that discussion. And we are asking for an award of bid contingent upon the board deciding to move the warrant article forward, and the community actually voting and approving it. So this would just lock in that pricing and allow us that flexibility. So the bid process has concluded, and bids were sent to 5 vendors, and 6 actually attended the walkthrough. So sometimes we get more vendors because we do publish it and market these open RFPs. And 5 ended up submitting bids. So we are recommending award of bid to Viking Roofing in the amount of $98,828. So that includes the base bid. So when we talk about the base bid, that's the actual roof. And then there are 2 alts or alternatives that we added on, and those are 2 options for ladders. So we are recommending the Alt 2 ladder, and that will essentially give us access to the roof. Currently, we don't have access other than using a large, like an actual, like a movable ladder, or, if we get a lift, we can get up there. So that encompasses those 2 items, $84,914 for the roof and $13,914 for the ladder system. And that is, again, contingent upon passage of a warrant article in the March 2021 ballot. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
And, I'm just trying to remember, how much is in the roof expendable trust? Roughly. It doesn't have to be-
Roughly, I want to say maybe $40,000.
Okay, yeah, that's consistent with.
But I can tell you in one moment the exact. So there's actually $52,746.
Okay,
So it's over half of the
Yeah.
the amount of the roof. So also for your reference, we have $57,110 in the building maintenance trust. So conceivably, we could fund it via those 2 sources. However, I would not recommend that. And again, we'll have these discussions during the budget process, but we don't want to deplete that building maintenance trust and not have that available for other building issues.
Yep.
So
Yeah, and like, last year we did highlight for the community that this was going to be something we were going to be looking at. So we'll definitely talk about that in the budget meetings. But for today, do you guys have any questions on the bids, or?
What were the difference between the ladders?
I know, I was gonna ask the same thing. Is it just because Skyline is, like, the base bid is higher?
yeah, I mean, sometimes they'll look at it as a total cost, and then some companies can try to be strategic about how they bid it out, because we don't have to accept an alt bid, so they might artificially bring down the base bid if they think we might not take one of the alts to get the job, right? I don't know that actually happened. I'm just speculating, but sometimes we see some variations there. You'll see the alt 1 ladders. That's a very basic ladder. They're all very close in price. But yeah, in the alt 2 ladders, they're relatively close except for Skyline, which again, sometimes you just see those idiosyncrasies with those bid amounts.
Mm-hmm.
So
And one ladder is just maybe a little bit more efficient or safer, or?
yeah, I mean, I think it's the difference between having the bare bones access to it, but as opposed to having a little more, it's just an easier access to the building. So, or to the roof rather.
Yep. Okay.
Is there a warranty or anything on the roof?
Yeah, so built into the bid specs, there's always a set, I don't know the year amount, but there's absolutely a warranty on the roof. So.
And
And I will say that Viking, we've worked with a number, 4 of these 5 companies, and we've been very satisfied with Viking. I would be comfortable with at least the 4 that I'm familiar with. So.
And they do the maintenance on it?
Because we specifically send out to vetted qualified bidders, and then we also open it up to others. But so we know these specific companies do quality work. So I'm sorry, were you asking?
And
a question?
they do the maintenance of if there's anything that needs to be fixed?
Well, if there's anything that needs to be fixed, we'd call Viking to come back. That would fall under the warranty. Now, normal maintenance, that's
Yeah,
our
yeah.
responsibility. So.
Do the warranty terms vary between the companies?
No, it's the same for we set the warranty
Oh, gotcha.
on terms. I mean, the bid specifications for this roof is in excess of 120 pages. It's very,
Wow.
very detailed. If you recall, we utilize a roof consultant
Yeah.
who writes the bid specs, qualifies vendors. Because with roofs, you have to be real careful because there's a wide variability with the quality of work and particularly the type of materials that they use, and the particular system. So, like for example, like the current roof there's a seam that's created all of these issues. Well, we made certain that the design that we put forth did not have a fatal flaw like a seam running through it.
Yep.
So.
Do you guys have any more questions or?
I don't
All right,
think
can
so.
I get a motion to award the gym roof replacement project?
I'll make a motion to, award the gym roof replacement project to Viking Roof to include the base bid and alternate number 2 for a total amount of $98,828.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All right. Matt, how long will they hold their price? I meant to ask you that.
They understand that all the vendors go into this knowing that it needs to be approved by the voters, and the project is slated for next summer.
Okay.
If they're awarded, so that's the contingency component.
Yep.
So.
Thank you. All right, next on the agenda, under new business B, is recording secretary stipend.
Yes, I can speak to this. So in your budget process, which will begin soon, we've taken a look at what we pay recording secretaries across the SAU, and I'm sure you're surprised to know that they vary pretty wildly across the SAU. The high school we took out of the process of looking at this, but we looked at the elementary districts and have come to a recommendation that will be a part of your budget process, that those be raised to $125 in the future, again, to be built into that budget process. What we're recommending here is that we actually implement that change as of November 1st. You currently pay, and Rhonda's given you the history here, you currently pay $84. The districts range from, I think, something like $84 to $118. We also took a look at what some other districts are paying, and that's where we came to the $125. The high school pays more. So the recommendation is to increase what we pay for the recording secretary for your meeting to $125, effective November 1st.
Didn't we have another person? Wasn't there? Rhonda, is that you? Are you doing it?
It is right now.
Oh, right. Yep.
We had that girl from.
You know, we had a really
Yeah.
good person, and then they ran for school board, you know?
Sharon's like, no.
Very good. We got
raised the price back in the day.
$125.
Wasn't her name Rebecca? Wasn't there another?
Yeah, there was a woman. So is she gone? Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense.
You're so good at it. You don't need to.
I'm okay with this.
Yeah.
You guys?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Can I get a motion to increase the stipend for school board recording secretary?
Want me to do it, Becky?
Sure, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to increase the stipend for the school board recording secretary from 84 to 125, effective November 1st, 2020.
And can I get a second?
Second.
Great. All right. Next under the agenda is new businesses reopening plans, the second trimester.
So let me say a couple words, and then I'm going to turn it over to your principal. A couple things. So we recently did a survey of staff, which was focused on the holidays, and a survey of parents, which also included the holiday questions, but the main purpose of which was to gather information from those people who had been part of the RLA as to what they wanted to do in the second trimester. We did that across the SAU. The reason for that, I want to spend a moment on the holiday issue. The reason we asked the holiday question is because currently New Hampshire has a rule in place out of the out of DHHS, which says that if you leave New Hampshire to go to a state outside of New England, you have to quarantine for 2 weeks upon your return. So we wanted to know what kind of an issue we might face following Thanksgiving and following the December holidays with staff and with students. We knew then, and we know now, that there were districts that were considering, and since there are districts that have closed, gone remote for that period of time. There are some districts that have chosen just to do the 2 weeks following Thanksgiving and the 2 weeks following December holidays. And there are others that have just taken the 6 weeks and essentially gone remote for those weeks. We don't believe we have support, as I've talked to the different boards, to make that recommendation, and we're not making that recommendation. We still have the possibility of having some issues as a result of that in some of our schools, of having to deal with the impact of students or staff who travel. So that was one piece. The more important piece was to figure out that in schools that are in person, whether we'd be able to continue that, and in schools that are remote, whether we'd be able to come back in some way. So that was the purpose of the survey. And Dr. Hobbs did a great job with that survey, and Michelle's done a great job really looking at the data, figuring out what that data looked like in terms of making some recommendations to you and putting this all together for tonight. So the good news is that what Michelle is going to lay out for you is that your school, we believe, is going to be able to stay in person for second trimester. There are some challenges that I think she's going to highlight for you. And we have some other data points that I don't know whether, David, you want to jump in at some point here. So just with those sort of opening comments, Michelle, I want to turn, and let me say one other thing, and you said it earlier, but I want to make sure I say this. Your school's done an amazing job. Your principal's done an amazing job. Your teachers have done an amazing job in keeping kids in school safely. I sit in meetings with superintendents from around the southeast part of the state, from other parts of the state, who are struggling in many, many ways to get kids in or keep kids in. We have districts like that. And your people have just done a great job. I want to say that, that they've done so, and it's exhausting. One thing I've heard from teachers over and over again is just how exhausting this work is, how difficult this work is, but how rewarding the work of actually being able to bring students in. So Michelle, you deserve a lot of credit. I said to you, this is not the way anybody wants to come to their first principalship, but you've done amazing work, and your teachers have done amazing work, and so thank you for that.
Thank you.
And with that, let me turn it over to you so that you can talk about second trimester.
Sure. So we do have 7 students that want to return from RLA, which is great. We want to have them back. It does create a few issues because 3 of those students are going to be in the K1 classroom, which is the classroom that's at max capacity. So in order to accommodate for this, we're going to, the 2-3 classroom is empty because those students are in the gym now, and those classrooms are next to each other. So we're going to have kindergarten students in that room and first grade students in the K1 room. And there's an EA in that room. There's actually 2 throughout the day. So we're going to separate them that way. They're still going to be considered one cohort, so they'll still have recess together. We're not intentionally separating them for COVID reasons, but just for learning reasons, just for COVID reasons, but outside they can still be together. And we may switch kids every now and then, but we'll only have the certain amount of, no more than the capacity in each room. And the teacher will teach in one room, and the aide will be in the other room. And then the aide will go in and do support work while the teacher teaches to the other grade. So they'll still be getting their Tier 1 instruction from the classroom teacher, and the aide will be supporting. And that will also we're going to be over in the 4-5 classroom as well. So we are going to move the isolation room from the computer lab, downstairs to the UA room. And then the computer lab will become the 5th grade room. And the teacher and the EA will swap back and forth in that classroom. And the isolation room will be downstairs. So it's not perfect by any means, but we feel it's way better than going remote, so we think it's going to work. And the staff really wants to do it. The EAs are on board for doing it. So I think we're good. And the good news is that by doing this, if everybody comes back, we can still accommodate everyone.
That's great.
So we just
How
have
many
to,
more do you have to have come back? Oh, how many more are still?
there are,
What was the question? How many are still in the RLA?
Yeah.
19, Dave, was that right?
Well, after the 7, though.
After
Yeah,
the
K
7.
through 4 is 6 at the moment.
Oh, wait, yes.
So 2.
Yeah, there'll be 10.
10
after the
remaining
7?
after
Yeah.
the.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't realize we had that many
Yeah.
kids.
Now, the one challenge you still have is the middle level and some RLA students.
Yeah, sorry, that's what
Who've been, do you want to talk about that?
I guess I can, and then I'll hand it over to you, Dave.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Do-
can speak to that too.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, the only issue is we do have 3 students in 5 through 8 who are currently in the RLA with teachers from Seabrook. And I'm not sure what the Seabrook model is yet, so Dave, I'm going to let you talk
We're
about
not
that.
either.
We're not either, right? So obviously we do have this handful of students that are in 5 through 8 in the RLA. They're enrolled in classes at Seabrook Middle School. It's incumbent upon us to provide them a model to react to decide whether they want to stay in the remote option at Seabrook Middle or come back into Barnard and fold themselves into the face-to-face. We just can't anticipate what their decision is going to be until we know the Seabrook Middle model. But the numbers are very slim in grades 5 through 8 there. And I believe Michelle can accommodate those students if they do decide to go back face-to-face. I don't think those are the tight areas at Barnard.
Dave, what do you mean they're enrolled in the Seabrook? I thought the RLA was across the districts.
So K through 4, what we did was basically set up a school. We pooled resources together and set up a faculty, and they are their own organizational unit, right, considered a school. However, in grades 5 through 8, for a lot of reasons, financial, certification reasons, pedagogical reasons, we were actually able to co-enroll students in multiple districts. So, for example, you guys in grades 5 through 8, your students who wanted to be remote were enrolled into the Seabrook Middle School remote classes. So they follow a Seabrook Middle School schedule with Seabrook Middle School teachers, but they're doing it remotely. As that changes in trimester 2, Seabrook might go into a hybrid or might, include some more face-to-face. We're just going to have to be upfront with parents about what that involves and whether they're going to want to stay on the Seabrook or whether they want to go back to Barnard.
Gotcha.
Is the curriculum, so is the curriculum the same? So if they leave Seabrook and then they're gonna come to Barnard and have,
Right, so that's going to be an academic decision. I can say that the standards and the competencies across all of our classes horizontally are aligned. However, the order of how teachers are addressing them might not be exact. So that is going to play, we're going to have to make some academic decisions around that.
and how are those students, did they adjust well to the Seabrook? Do you know? Or do you not know because you don't touch base with them, or do you? Or
We
should
don't
I know
hear
that?
a lot from them. I do hear from their teachers, and they seem to be doing fine.
Okay.
And I mean, just for, so we see the whole picture, they are receiving students with IEPs are receiving special ed services and supports through Barnard.
Okay.
So you receive services from your home district in that model.
Got it.
So there is that connection.
We had a host of reasons. You could probably talk better to this than I can. But I remember from up front, there were a host of reasons that people identified that they wanted to be in a remote experience, right? All kinds of different reasons for it. Some people have changed their mind. I still get, as much as I know the communities hear about people wanting to be back in school, I get an email every day, at least one every day, from someone who's in remote who wants to stay there, isn't ready to have their child back in a hybrid, in a full-time situation, doesn't want that, wants us to keep something. We still have over 100 kids at the K-4 level
We do.
across the SAU
120.
who are interested in that remote experience, and we still have a handful at the middle level. And one thing the high school board is going to hear in another week is that at a survey we did where we got about 70%, 60-70% response, I think it's 17% of those parents said they want their kids remote. 17%. So if you take that and take it out, extrapolate it over the entire high school, it's 180 kids. So we still have a significant number of people who, for whatever reason, and again, those reasons vary by the family, aren't ready to send their kids back for a face-to-face experience. And here's the deal. We're a public school. So we owe them all an education. And we think, and the boards have agreed, thank you, that we owe them a quality education, which is why we created the K-4, which is why we did what we did at the middle, and which is why we keep talking about them at the high school level as well.
That said, it's going to continue to be an X factor based on changing conditions, spread of the virus, and personal circumstances, honestly. So we just have to keep that open and keep the decision points clear for us.
And those decision points will continue to be trimesters, because what we ask people to do is to make these commitments a trimester at a time, right? So that they continue to have some flexibility. We believed up front that if we'd asked them to make a commitment for the year,
Right.
we wouldn't have been able to open many of our schools because we would have had a number of people who said, well, if it's for the year, I'm going to come back.
So if, if all the kids, the remaining kids, so seven, so those seven come back, there's seven more that are still in the remote. If all those kids come back, would there be space issues?
We should be fine.
Should be fine, awesome. Great.
Do you think we're going to get to a point where there's not a choice and that a school opens face to face? Like, you have to do it?
I would say that's not going to happen this school year,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Okay.
I don't have any colleagues, whether they're in Massachusetts or New Hampshire, talking about not needing a VLAX, not needing their own remote academy this year.
I mean, it could turn into a de facto movement where, like you said, if all the Barnard students decide they want to go
Yeah,
face-to-face, then it's a fact we're in school face-to-face.
Right.
However, yeah, we feel the obligation now to provide that option.
And then if all the students come back and then all of a sudden they decide, well, this isn't it, I want to go back to remote in that next trimester, they can do that as well, right?
Within,
I don't know.
within reason, yeah.
You're asking all these really good questions, and just understand that we made a lot of this up, right? We created a model. David, I keep quoting David at one meeting saying, yeah, we created a school in a week and a half,
Right.
that remote academy. And we did. David did, and Cindy Fagan, and 6 teachers?
8.
8 teachers, thank you. Created a school in a week and a half, and they've done a great job.
Want to do that for Amesbury?
I can't comment on that.
Would VLAX be accessible for the second trimester? Or is that, or are those seats are all taken? I mean, just, I'm looking at a pretty small, say something happens with Seabrook, is that a potential option or no?
So the best way I can explain VLAX openings right now is Swiss cheese. There are openings. However, there are a lot of courses, both subject areas and grade levels, that are waitlisted significantly. So it's going to be kind of like rolling the dice if a student does want to pursue that pathway. It's nothing that we can pursue whole hog as a, you know, as a strategic kind of position for us.
Okay.
Michelle, you made that sound easy, and I know it's not easy.
Oh.
And you make the idea of bringing, if other kids wanted to come back, sound easy. You and Beth Rossi have this in common. You both make it sound like, yes, easy, we'll make it work. And I know, because of the number of times we've been together discussing what your model has to look like, I know it's not easy, and I just appreciate your efforts.
Well, thank you. I'm not doing it alone. The staff's helping a lot.
Well, thank you very much for the update. I think it's clearly something you guys are doing a good job with and can work with, and, you know, you'll have to adjust based on any numbers or changes or whatever.
Well, I also want to point out, too, that we couldn't do this if it wasn't for the parent commitment to keeping kids safe. And everybody's been really good about keeping students home with the symptom. And it's not ideal and getting all those tests, but that's what's really keeping us open.
Yeah.
No, that's right. You know, we've experienced that in a number of other districts. We've had one situation that you know of that made the newspapers. We've had other situations. They've been outside things, weddings, an outside athletic event. You know, in those experiences, we had situations where people didn't give us complete information that led to more students having to quarantine and more classrooms closing down. If I've learned anything this fall, it's how dependent this is on everybody doing their part, filling out that app, keeping kids home when they're sick, those kinds of things, because otherwise you can end up with a grade level closed down, a school closed down for 2 weeks or more if people don't do their part.
Okay. I'm going to go back to on the agenda number 2A, which is the public comment. Rhonda, do I need to read this, or there's a paragraph in the agenda, or should I just give the phone number? Okay. Great. So if anybody has a public comment, there is a phone number you can dial into where you can hear you. That phone number is 603-758-9367. Once again, the number is 603-758-9367. And we'll just pause for a minute or two here to see if anybody makes that phone calls in. I guess while we're paused, I can talk about next meeting dates. Next meeting dates, SAU 21 Joint Board. Public hearing is going to be on Monday, November 9th at 6 p.m. The Southampton School Board Budget Review meeting is going to be Wednesday, December 2nd at 9:30 a.m. We're going to do that in person or remote? What are we going to do there?
They're scheduled for remotely right now.
Okay. Yeah, that should be fine. The next Southampton School Board meeting is Thursday, December 3rd at 4:30 p.m. And Southampton School Board Budget Review meeting is going to be Thursday, December 10th at 9:30 a.m. Do we have anybody who called in? No.
We do
magic
not.
phone says no.
All right.
And we have no need for a non-public.
Yeah, no need for non-public. Great. Well, I think it was great to see everybody in person. It's been a long time. I think I've seen people individually, but not as a group. So I just want to thank everybody for coming together. And can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Rhonda, thanks for making this happen.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes,
All
thank
the
you.
setup and everything, it's appreciated for sure.
You want
Yeah.
a motion to adjourn?
Yep, make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
The meeting's adjourned at 5:19 p.m. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, you can got it.